Ooh, have you been watching the Karen Reef? That's good.
No, the girl at the gym actually was just talking about that today, and she said I would like
Mm-hmm.
it, and I was like, I do need to watch it because it's on HBO Max. Where are you watching it? On what platform?
I think it's on
Yeah,
Max.
okay. Because I was like, I
Yeah, I
like
already
saved
watched
it
it.
on my phone because I was like, I need to remember that because I love me some crime.
Well, so what? Why it's like blowing up right now? We can talk about this.
Yeah, because the case is actively going
Actually,
right now.
no, yeah. So that's what it is. It's cases going on right now. So in the documentary, it was a hung jury.
Yeah.
So then now this case is currently active
Yeah. So
right
it's
now. So it's
closure
like
to the
kind of like,
documentary. Like, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Which 1000% she's guilty.
I haven't looked into it because apparently she's inebriated. So then it's like, and she doesn't remember. Is that like the vibe? How she's presenting
Yeah.
herself is like she has no
Yeah.
idea what
So
happened.
what I think it is no, she says she didn't do it. But what I think happened was this girl, by the way, this Karen Reed girl is the the girl that killed the Boston cop for boyfriend. Um, and she's on trial, and the scenario is basically she's crazy, by the way. She got a crazy personality. Like when you see her, you're like, she's guilty, right? She's
Yeah.
wild. So, anyways, they went out night
Yeah.
drinking. They were like, okay, let's go to a friend's house after. They went to the friend's
Okay.
house. And then she says she waited in the car and he went to go knock on the door because it kind of looks like, okay, you invited us over, but it doesn't look like you guys were
Yeah.
here
Yeah.
or like having a party. So she was like, just go check. So he checked. She said she saw him go
Okay.
inside. She got upset and was calling him like, what are you doing? You left me out here. You didn't come and tell me, like, whatever. Which in my head, if that was true, if I ever didn't come back out, I would have just
I
gone
know.
inside
Same. That's
and be
what
like,
I
"Oh,
was
it's
thinking. Like,
yeah,
oh, maybe he's like caught in conversation. I'm just going to go inside.
yeah, yeah." So anyways, she's like, I call him, I got pissed, I left messages, so then I just left. So she left. She left back home, left him in the dust.
Okay.
So her thing is she left him
Okay.
inside. That was the last time she saw him. So then she was calling him like 1,000
Yeah.
times. And when that happens, that person's guilty and they're trying to cover up, but they're
Yeah.
searching for them.
Interesting.
So she
Okay.
calls him like 1,000 times and she is like, I'm going to go find him. So 3 or 4 in the morning, she calls the people she was with and
Mm.
is like, I haven't seen him. We need to go back to the house and
Yeah.
find him. And so these girls are like, "Yeah, I'm sure he's fine, whatever, but okay, we'll go with you."
Yeah.
So she picked them up and then they go back and immediately, by the way, it's a snowstorm and it's pitch black,
Yeah.
right? It's like 4 or 5 in the morning. And they're driving and she's in the back and she's like, he's there. Just drive fast, stop. And it's way far off, like in the side corner, and he's under snow.
What?
And it's like a snowstorm. And the friends were like, you could not see him.
Yeah.
Like like she had to know where he
Ah,
was.
interesting. I see. Okay.
Yeah. So the whole idea is that she got upset. She like backed up into him, basically kind of like ran
Yeah.
him over, and he was passed out in the snow and he just
Now he's
died.
covered in snow. He's a snowdrift on the road. Okay.
Yeah. So when she's leaving the house to go back to the house, she like backed directly into his car
Ooh.
and she didn't even try to like turn. So the idea is that that was her excuse of why the taillight was broken was
Oh,
because she
okay.
backed into the car. But she literally, it's one where you have to go out of the driveway and you have to completely turn to go out.
Yes.
Like if you're going out of
Yeah.
line. And she just went straight back and fell right into it.
She
And
thought
so
she
they
was covering
say,
herself up pretty good.
they thought so, but they say they went back and there's no broken taillight there.
Oh, so she didn't even do a good job with her cover up.
But she says they took the taillight and then they planted it in the grass
Oh,
by this
dang.
guy.
Okay.
Because
Okay. I have to go watch this
they
then.
ended up finding it like 12 hours
Ah,
later, but that's also because it was snowing.
okay.
So things were unveiling as snow
Yeah.
melting, as they were clearing
Yeah.
snow out, all that kind of stuff. Some of the stuff is fishy. I do think some people like kind of finagled
Mm.
things to make sure she was found guilty.
Okay.
But this girl's crazy. She's
If you guys don't know this about us, Heather and I are here for some juicy crime documentaries and a whodunit. So this is right
Yeah.
up our alley. And I love that. This is the thing about me too. I don't know if you're the same way. I love a crime documentary that has an ending. Like this took place in 2022, but we got an update and then they
Yes.
type in so and so was found
Yeah.
guilty and here they are, life
Yeah.
in prison. And it's just like, yes. So I love that now we have the case ongoing so we get a little bit of that closure.
Like literally
Yeah,
crime.
I saw an update an hour ago. So I love that with all the storytelling and everything going on and then now we have closure or like ongoing closure. So it's a
Yeah.
good one. Live action
It's a
crime
good one.
documentary.
It's funny because in the documentary, there's like people outside of the like
Yeah.
courthouse, and you're like, and they're with chairs and
Oh,
tents and like,
interesting.
and I'm like, these people need to get lives.
Yeah.
Like these people have no.
Dang. I want to be that
So
invested.
she has supporters that like swear she's not guilty.
Okay. And they're just like waiting, but they can't even go in there and be a character witness or anything. So they're just thinking that they're helping her case by sleeping outside.
I don't know. I literally don't know. And then there's like this, what's his name? Like leading this movement.
Oh,
So
interesting.
it's very interesting.
All right.
But I promise when you see her person, she just, you know how you can see somebody and they're
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't think she didn't go out that night. I don't think like trying to
Of
murder
course.
this guy. Like that's not what I
Yeah.
think. I think that she's crazy. She was drunk.
Yeah.
She got pissed. She ran him over. And then what happened was she woke up in the middle of the night being like, you know how you have like
Yeah. And
flashbacks?
did that happen?
And she had this flashback. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I hit
Yeah.
him.
And I need to go fix
Like
this.
we need to
Yeah.
go back. Yeah. And I need to go back. So that's what I think. I don't think it was this intentional, like she had like first degree murder. This was with deep
Yeah.
intention. I don't think so. I think she's definitely with all these years of the
Yeah.
case. She's definitely, I feel like, remembered everything by now. But she can, in her mind, justify, I didn't mean to do it, so I'm going to fight for
Yeah,
myself. I won't admit it because it's not like I purposely
Of
did it.
course. Yeah. You said it wasn't premeditated. So at least
Yeah,
she has
but
that for herself.
Yeah, they just need to go for like a lower
Yeah.
manslaughter or something, you know, and then get her in for whatever it is, 15 years or. Well, it's sad because he had kids.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. I need to watch that. I didn't know all the details.
I think his wife died.
That's sad.
I think his wife
Now
died.
even worse.
And so he took. Oh, no. This is what it is. No, it's even worse for the kids, honestly. His wife and his brother died, though his kids were their kids.
Okay.
But his wife and brother died. So he took on the kids and he was their dad. And then he died. I know.
Now the crime documentary just turned sad.
Yeah. So these, like, we need to get justice for those
Yes.
kids. That's
Yep.
what we need to go lock her away. But she's guilty. So we need to next week. You need to tell us.
Yeah.
You need to
We'll circle
watch
back.
it.
And also maybe we'll see where the case goes too. Because then we'll have answers
Yeah.
on what happened with her.
I definitely think that the jury, it's, you know how juries sometimes they meet for an hour and they're like, guilty, not guilty. I think this is one that people are very torn on. So the jury will take a
They'll
little
deliberate
bit
for quite some time probably.
It might be a hung jury again.
Interesting.
Because it's that
Yeah.
polarizing.
I could see that.
She just needs to go to jail. she's
You're like, let me in
psycho.
that jury.
She's crazy. Okay. Anyways, so what I wanted to talk to you today about was, what do you think about spouses talking poorly about their spouse to other people?
Okay.
Like airing the dirty laundry.
With like a group
whether
of
it's
friends
with
or whatever.
the friend or the family member, like the mom.
Ooh.
Or how do you feel about people just, not just like, I'm going through something big, right? Like, okay, my husband cheated on me. I'm trying to navigate this, whatever. I'm talking about like, can you believe?
Or it just feels like every
that
week
he
they're
did
almost just crap talking their spouse it's not the little thing.
Yes.
Like you said, it's not something where it's like, this is devastating. I need someone to talk to about this. Like my life's about to change. I need to tell people. The naggy, like nitpicking and then gossiping with friends about that, I think is not healthy for a marriage at all.
Same.
Like, especially who you talk to too. Like your pillow chat and like what you have, like that time with your partner to then trickle over to like a friend circle. I think not everyone has good intentions and that could be totally twisted. And then also I think too, like for instance, if, my husband was doing stuff that annoyed me and I gossiped with my mom about that every week, my mom, how is she going to have a healthy quality relationship with her son-in-law if I'm constantly just like, these are the annoying things he does. This is really awful, XYZ. So I just think there's a limited amount of what you should be sharing healthily with your friends and family members about your spouse.
I agree. And I think even more importantly, don't do it to your mom because it's not only, even with your
Yeah.
friends, like this story is coming from only your
Of
perspective.
course. Yeah. So now
So it's going to
it's
be
going to
like
twist everyone's
bad,
perspective.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You are, at the end of the day, you are convincing
Yeah.
them that what they did was
Yeah.
wrong. It's going to be from your perspective, right? You're wanting them to side with you
Yes.
at
Of
the end of the
course.
day.
Yeah.
You don't tell somebody an argument or something that bothered you for them to be, well, he was
Yeah.
right.
Against you. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to
Of course.
basically.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, then you're like, there's not many times, obviously, like you do talk also good about your
Of
spouse,
course.
most
Yeah.
people. I feel like you don't naturally, well, Alvaro came home and did the
Yeah,
dishes for me
it's
today
not,
randomly.
just
You know,
like
like
we
it's not
don't,
a random things.
just think of like when we do restaurant reviews, right? Like it's people aren't writing the positive things about the restaurant experience that they had, they're writing the
No.
negative. So that's the same what it's going to
Yeah.
be when you're going to talk ill about a spouse.
For sure. So then you build up this like rapport of like, wow, this guy's trash.
Yeah. Why are you married to him?
Does he ever treat you
Yeah.
nice? So I think it's so poor. But do you think that when people talk negatively, because we always hear this thing that's like, marriage is so hard. Just how people depict
Yeah.
marriage in general, or even parenting.
Yeah.
When they're like, parenting is so hard. And it's like, yes, it is. But don't get me wrong. Well, maybe we're not one to talk to because we're like, we need school all year.
Where can my kids go right now?
Do you have my daycare? But truly, being a parent is like, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
No, it's so
Like,
rewarding, even with the highs and lows.
It's so rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look at all the time when the kids are on the couch, and I'm sure you do the same thing, where you just look at their face and you're like, I miss you.
Yeah. Of course.
Like, you're mine. Like, you're adorable. Like, look at you sitting there.
You drive me so nuts that I love you so much that I just want to squeeze your little head.
Yeah. So do you think that this, like, that's one of my pet peeves is when people are just like, marriage is so hard, because I really don't find marriage to be hard.
No, and I think it sucks because I feel like when people say that, it does make marriage seem so bad. Like how they say that. And I'm like, marriage is because hard is not a good word at all. Like marriage is amazing and beautiful, and it's a partnership between two people. So I'm like, is it hard because somebody's in the season of struggle where they're using that maybe one pinpoint of like an argument between them and saying like, this is hard, so therefore all of marriage is hard. So that's why I don't really like that. Like I don't like when we talk negatively about such a big and beautiful thing, because there are low points in marriage, in any relationship, and that's normal. So I just feel like, is it people who are getting stuck here and not, I don't feel like it's accurate. It's not fair to put that on a marriage.
And friendships go through the same thing. And like, you never hear like, friendship's so hard.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just like, why do we feel so comfortable to talk negatively about marriage when it's all the same? I would never say, I don't know, like my relationship with my kids is hard. Like, no, it's all the same. So I just feel like maybe we need to put a little bit more effort in upping it, like positive, we had a hard day.
Like you get to live with your best friend.
Yeah, exactly. So now we're going to work to make it better on whatever this argument was or whatever this low was for us, because that was a mistake. Here we are. We're moving past it. And it's not hard. I don't know. It's very tricky.
And also, the thing is that I feel like when you have an argument, you always come out of it feeling so much better.
Yeah.
I do. Once you've settled it, I feel like you are a stronger couple.
Yes, because you've worked through that. Like whatever the issue was, whoever was to blame, there was work to be done to correct whatever it was.
And I find that you're more in love with that person. It sounds very backwards, but I just find you're more in love. And I think as years go on, like I don't think our marriage has ever been hard ever. I would never use that word, because Albert and I get along like pretty well. We don't really have arguments that often. Like, and even with our arguments, like they're disagreements or maybe we don't see eye to eye. But like they're so and few far between. And I think maybe when we were younger, maybe we had a little bit more like tit for tat type things.
And I think a lot of people can relate to that, because I think we were the same way, where it's like you're almost a little bit more like impulsive and immature and you don't know what's important yet.
Why'd you get in that
Yeah,
attitude?
like, no, I did do the dishes. Like, you suck. And it just is because we're young and immature and we don't know that the world is
Yeah.
bigger than that. And that's why I think now we're like grown ups and we can like rationalize that's not a thing. We're not worried
Yeah.
about that. I love this guy,
Yeah. I don't
regardless of
think,
the dishwasher getting unloaded or not. We're not having a fight about that.
yeah. Yeah. We're coming up on our 13th year, and I
Yeah.
don't think that 13th
Beep, beep,
year,
beep,
such a good movie.
beep.
Huh? But I feel like we've grown so
Yeah.
much. We really don't do these like silly, dumb
No.
arguments. And not to like hype myself up, but I'm also not like a silly arguments
Yeah.
kind of girl. And I've kind of taught Alvaro to be like
Yeah.
that. I'm just like, life's too short.
Yes.
Like, why are we going to argue about the
Yeah.
garbage
Like
can?
we
You
know
know?
better. Like we as a couple know that we're better than that. Are we really going to
Yeah,
let that upset us and ruin our day or whatever it is? And it's like, no, that's not
for
worth it.
sure.
Let's just do
For
whatever
sure.
and move past this. I just think it's
Yeah. So I feel
maturity
like
for sure in the couple
I've
and
taught
as
him
individuals.
for sure. And I think I've taught him to kind of like let
Yeah.
things go like that. And then also um I've also learned ways to hint,
Yeah.
like to maybe speak to him or be like, hey, like, sorry I said that
Yeah.
before. Maybe it irritates him. Or I feel like you learn each other's,
Yes.
if you're both willing to, move in
Yeah.
whatever direction maybe that might work best for them. Maybe when I respond this way, I don't think it's rude, but
Yeah.
like maybe he thinks it's rude.
Yes.
And if he thinks it's rude, then I shouldn't
Yeah.
say it.
Very
Um,
relatable for sure. We learned
so
that.
yeah, and you learn that over time. So I think that like as time goes on, you just have to be like moldable to an
Mm-hmm.
extent. Not molding your
No.
personality, but like being able to adapt to like maybe they don't like to
Just
say
like we
that.
all have different love languages, which you learn as you get closer to anybody,
Mhm.
you also have different communication styles. So, just like that example of the tone that we speak to our husbands in, if we have something that we're like, I want to address this and I don't want it to come across snarky or attitudey or
Yeah,
whatever, or condescending. So then we know that style that works best for our relationship. And I think that just means that's a sign of maturity and health and growth. Just
for
that we
sure.
wouldn't have known that when we were dating in our 20s, like when we're 19 or
Yeah,
whatever. And we're like, why'd you do that? And it's just different. Like we know better than that now.
for sure. And they're always like, never say you, like when you're
Yeah.
talking. And back in the day, you're like, and you did
Yes. Yeah. But
this.
actually, this behavior makes me feel that I don't quite understand what you.
It's so
Yeah.
hard. I think about it all
Yeah.
the time. Because I think that maybe one of the things Alvaro, like, I don't think it's just
Yeah.
me, maybe struggles with is feeling
Oh,
attacked.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like I could trigger it if I'm just like, and
Yeah. Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
and you.
I mean, anybody
It's,
would, right? Like, even our kids, if
yeah,
we say, you keep
yeah.
leaving your shoes by the front door, then they're going to be like, mom. Like, that's naturally our instinct is to be like,
Hmm.
like you're attacking me and I don't like it and I'm going to shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do we think that this talk, how people represent
Mm.
marriage and people represent like having kids? I think kids the big one, by the way. Is this why the newer generations or people younger than us are like getting married so old
Mm.
or not getting married at all? Or they say that, let me pull up the statistics, by the way. I screenshotted them. So they say that pretty much baby boomers, Gen X, and millennials are all in the same range in the 70s percentile that they dated during high school, like their
Okay.
teenage
Yep.
years. And only 56% of Gen Z have dated during their teen years.
Wow.
So meaning all the way up to the age of 19.
That's
Like they've never
crazy.
dated
Yeah.
somebody.
So, do we think that the title of marriage is hard is kind of to blame for some of these statistics?
Like, do we think so? I think it's to blame for
Yeah.
millennials and not just from
Yeah.
us, like from Gen Xers, baby boomers
Everybody.
being like, marriage is
Yeah.
hard. Um, I think that we have looked at it as like a
Yeah.
negative instead of because like now people are like, I want my career, I want
Hmm.
to do all this stuff, I want to be successful before I get
Yeah.
married.
Because marriage is
And in
now a
my head,
job,
I'm like,
it's on a
right.
list.
In my head, it's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing to build that
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. Navigate your
Like,
life
why are
also with a
we,
partner. Let this partner be
yeah,
by
like,
your
why are
side.
we doing this by
Yeah.
ourselves?
Yeah.
Why do you have to establish your career by
Yeah.
yourself? That doesn't make
I
sense to
agree.
me. And
Yeah.
I think that, like, um, not that there's plenty of marriages that they're married
Hmm.
young, that obviously divorce. But I think that if you've married the right person,
Yeah.
obviously, this is what I'm saying, is if you marry young, you grow
Yeah.
together. But when you get married older, you're
Yeah.
established in your ways. And then you come together and you're like, I'm not doing
Yeah,
that.
they have their own lives. Just like when you see what's that
Yeah.
show that we like, The Married at First Sight? They're almost always a little
Hmm.
bit older. Some of them. Some are still they catch them when they're young,
Yeah.
but some of them are on there in their
Then
30s
in
and they have
30s.
their
Yeah.
jobs, their first
35.
mortgage, they have a dog, and then they try to bring their lives together and they're almost so much in their ways that they end up saying no at the altar because of
Yeah.
that.
They look at each other like an
Yeah, and
alien.
they're like,
Like, they're like,
"No, like
ew, I'm not
you
going to do
buy
that.
those dishes? I don't think your couch
Yeah.
will ever fit in my house." And like they're finding reasons to
Yeah.
like not make it work. Like, "Oh, you go out on the weekends and spend your money on shoes? I save my money from my hardworking job." And they like conflict and they're like, "I can't do it." And I'm like,
Yeah.
had you guys done that maybe 15, 10, 5 years ago, you probably would have been able to
Built
sort
your
this
money
out. Yeah, you would
together.
have sorted it out. You would have been like, "Hey, I'd love for us to prioritize shoe allowance plus the savings allowance because we're two different people."
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the problem with millennials. I think it's the negative talk, kind of the thinking that they can't be the successful
Yeah.
person if they're married, which I don't
Yeah.
understand that. Because like, doesn't that help you?
Yeah.
I saw something recently that was like, tell me how many millionaires you see that are single that don't do it with a
Ooh,
spouse.
interesting. Yeah.
You're working hard.
Yeah.
Maybe you've quit your job so you can make your own business, but he's keeping down the fort for
Yeah.
you. You're out working and doing all those things and working late night.
Yeah. And you always see interviews and stuff too where people are like, "I want to share my life with someone." They've made these millions for them, like someone who has gotten successful in life and done all
Hmm.
the little bullet points that they've wanted. And then they're like, "I want someone to share this with." And they almost kick themselves for like having put that as a last like
Yeah.
item on their
And then
checklist.
now they're
Yeah.
alone.
And now they're alone and they don't get to share this beautiful life that they've created and worked so hard for with anybody because they made that less of a priority. So I think that
Mhm.
says a lot. Oh, what a
For
shame.
sure.
You guys go out there and find love, share this beautiful life with somebody. It's awesome.
Yeah. So, do you think that's the same case for Gen Z?
Ooh,
Because I don't
I
think it
don't think
is.
so.
I on
Yeah.
like
Like why they're not dating, like why
they
that statistic was so low compared to all the
yeah,
other
I
groups.
think it has
Yeah.
right. I think it just has to do with they're not going
Yeah.
out. They're just on social media. They're
Yeah.
gaming. And don't get me wrong, to an extent, it's a good thing, right? So maybe it's good that less people are having the 16-year-old boyfriend because realistically, most people don't marry their
Of
16-year-old
course. Yeah, yeah,
boyfriend.
yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
there's nothing per se
Yeah.
wrong about it. Obviously, it gives you some like
Yeah.
insight to like maybe what you
Yeah.
want or how you react in relationships.
That's typically not the person that they're walking down the aisle with. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's not a big
Yeah.
deal. But the problem is, I just don't think they're not doing
No. So like
things.
even what you just said, right? Where it's like, okay, you're not dating as a 16-year-old, but they're also still
Mhm.
not dating as 18-year-olds. We're not even gently pausing and then doing it later. They're entirely just not leaving their houses. They're not getting, like we've talked about before, they're not getting their driver's license. So therefore they're never going to get, they're not going to go out of their way to date. Like that's an
Yeah.
additional chore. Like,
I think I saw, I'm trying to look at what this, um, so 75% of Gen Z right now is still single.
wow. I'm wondering, like, are they happy? Like, I want to know now. I want to talk to a Gen Zer and be like,
What's
are
the
you guys
youngest Gen
content?
Z? 14, 15. So still it's kind of in dating
Yeah,
age.
so they'll have an
15?
interest. I think that's the age where you start to gain an interest where
Yeah.
it's like, ooh, like I have my individuality, but I'm also interested
Hmm.
in dating and it'd be fun to have a boyfriend to talk on the phone with. I feel like that's the age where that kind of can definitely establish.
But it's gone down because what's the youngest millennial? Millennials, what the youngest millennial is like 28.
Okay, so the
Only 44%
1997.
of millennials are married.
40?
4%.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that is a small.
So that's
Yeah, that
low.
is for what I think. I think that's low.
Yeah, because I feel like when you're creeping up to your 30s, that's only part of millennials,
Yes,
right?
of
Is like,
course.
that 28,
Yeah.
30. And even then, both of us were already
Yeah,
married
and
at
I
that
think
age.
of, just think of like our immediate networks, right? Like our friends and family. Like
Mhm.
generally, I can think already that the majority of them are in established
Same.
marriages and maybe even having kids. Like they're all in this kind of chapter of life.
Yeah.
So that's why I think that stat's
It's all
so
the big
low.
cities.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like the cats, all of those 56% are all like in like major
Yeah.
cities, like New York,
Yeah.
LA,
Yeah.
Miami.
Or the like, what
all
was
the
it? The Love is Blind. Then they always pick these major cities to film in, and then they find all these millennials who are not in serious relationships.
Yeah, all the quality
Yeah.
people they find.
I mean, we love
So
the
it's
show.
just so terrible.
We love the show. We don't want to be on it, but we love the show. It's fun.
The problem is once you start getting maybe first or second seasons, I'm not gonna say it's legit, but like people didn't know how the
Yeah.
process worked. They had never seen the show, all that kind of stuff. Now they're so
Yeah.
into it that now it's people want to be on the
Yes.
show.
And now
You know
you
what I mean?
almost
And if
have to
you want
like
to be on the show
research to make sure that they haven't already been like texting with their like boyfriend on the outside
and
for
they're not
clout.
crazy.
Yeah. And all this kind of stuff. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, dang, they fooled us.
That's another thing. Like establish yourself as like this like, businesswoman that makes a ton of money. Maybe then you date and you're like, maybe they just need for the money.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
Yeah. That's
know.
hard. I
Like,
get that.
that's
Yeah.
hard. I don't know. I just would I want to build I would like to build an empire with
Yeah.
somebody, not just like by
I want to
myself.
do stuff with somebody. Like,
And then how do you plot them
yeah.
in?
No, I mean, and I don't know if I've seen it successfully done, like plopping somebody into my life, just like all these dating shows we've seen. Like, it's not often that they're successful at plopping another person into their already established life.
Yeah.
So I think it's tricky. And I think that says a lot for those percentages. And then the younger generation, I just think that if they're not doing anything, they're not dating, therefore they're not getting married.
Yeah. So what is their average marriage age gonna be?
It's got to be later, right?
50?
So
What are
we,
we-
the millennials, we have a lot of stuff that helped us to
Oh
date.
yeah.
We started getting younger, right? We're a wide range, I think, because we can date young. And then we also, because we were driving, we had jobs. Like, so it made sense if we wanted to date and get married. Then we also could be older because then you had the group that, with technology, we had a lot of women stepping out into the workforce. So now they weren't marrying and having kids. They were going off and getting their master's degrees and like getting big girl jobs. So we have a
Yeah, we
wide
all
range.
went to school. What a scam.
But the millennials have a wide range. We don't have like
We do.
everyone got married at 23 because I think we had an industrial shift like that took over for us. But I don't know what that's going to look like for Gen Z because what's theirs? Just social media, smartphones. And then all of a sudden they're like, well, now we're not going to get married until we're 32 because.
I don't know. And they only want big jobs.
Yeah, no, they do. Where are our teenagers working at like McDonald's and American Eagle for $5? Like where
Dairy Queen.
like they don't want it. They don't want those jobs. And I'm just
No.
like, what? So now we're going to lose all these things because our generations we're moving up, right? We're no longer working that job. We did that when we were in high school and college.
Yeah,
and
like
we're gone now.
typical 30-year-old's not gonna make, $8 or
Yeah,
$9
we've already
now.
moved on in
Like,
our lives. We've worked our way up. We're like the managers now at these businesses, or we're doing different things. So now this new group of people who is graduating high school, they're the ones who are supposed to be at the mall, at the restaurants, starting out just like
Yes.
we did, but they don't want it. So I'm like, what's going to happen?
And then when you do see them, they have the dumb headphones on, like in, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like I went into PacSun recently and like the guy had the headphones on. I was like,
Like, you're like, I don't
You're
want to
working here?
interrupt you, but I need a fitting room. But you look busy.
yeah, like what is
Yeah.
that? Like, so it's like when they do work it, they're just like, it reminds me of like Zootopia, the sloths,
Yeah.
where they're just like
yeah.
no.
Like, no awareness.
He's like, oh, you need help?
That's why I'm here.
So that's why I'm
Yeah.
here. Hi, that's why you're
yeah,
here.
yeah. You're getting
actually.
paid
Just-
to
just
help
to help
me,
you,
but that's okay. I'm sorry for inconveniencing you. Yeah, so I'm really curious to kind of see how it rolls out because we're about to see them. They're now turning into our mini adults, and we're going to see what they do in the next 5 years and what that looks like.
I always laugh at all the like Gen Z. Have you ever seen those like Gen Z reels of like their doctors? Like they're the doctor,
Oh, yeah.
like how they
Yeah.
talk and stuff.
No, I saw
I'm
one where
like-
it was like talking about customer service, like when we call customer service. And right now it's all us and older, right? Like we don't have like a 19-year-old in this generation who's like answering the phone for us yet. Like they're not there yet. So I'm just like, we're
unless
about
they're
to.
like a hostess or
Yeah.
something.
So we're about to get that group though. They're about to step out and start hopefully getting these like customer service jobs where they're just like, what do you need? Like, ugh, like, couldn't you just do this yourself online?
No, okay, so this is an example of their age group. I called, he had to be like, I want to say like 18 or
Okay.
19. I called Outback, and you know how Outback does like a call ahead
Yes.
seating? Like they don't do reservations, but you're like, hey, I'm
To
on my
put
way,
yourself on
whatever.
the list already.
So I was like, hi, I'm calling ahead. You can even do it online, but you can't do it for 8. And we had
Yes.
8. So I was like, hi, I'm just calling ahead for 8 of us. We'll be there in about like 15, 20 minutes. And he's like, call ahead. And I'm like, yeah, I was just calling ahead. He's like, look, a reservation. And I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
no, I'm just calling ahead, but like, sure, here, give me a
Yeah.
reservation on the spot. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
thinking, I'm
Like
sure.
whatever I can do,
He's
give it
like,
to me. Like,
yeah. And he's just like that. Um, so like a reservation? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, okay, how many people is it? I'm like, 8. And he's like, okay, do you think like you'll be here like 8? Like, what time do you think you'll be here? And I was like, yeah, 8. And he's like, okay.
he's
And
literally
then
like
like it just
looking on the
hangs up.
podium, like what he's supposed to do.
No, then it just hangs up. And then I'm like, okay. So I call back and I was like, hi. And he's like, hi. And I was like, I was just talking to you, but the phone dropped. And he's like, oh, I'm like, yeah, Heather, the party for 8. Oh, yeah. So
Gosh.
like we sat somebody, but it'll only be a few minutes after. Okay. Does that work for you? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay, let me just, I was just like, what?
Yeah.
What? I told Albert, I can literally, I don't even need to see this
Yeah.
guy. I know what he looks
Yes.
like. He had the like broccoli
Yeah.
haircut.
Yep. And he has his phone here. He's distracted by his phone. Like,
And sure enough, like we walk in and Alvara's like, that's the guy. And I was like,
that's so
100%. Like
wild.
without a
Yeah.
doubt.
Oh man. Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is the
Yeah.
future of our conspiracy.
No, I already can
It's
tell.
just like
That's why I want
a
to like
slop.
be so on top of our kids because I can tell when they
Yes.
say certain things. I'm like, that is you. Like you are going to be like standing there being like at Chick-fil-A or, like you just mentioned Outback Steakhouse. And it's like, okay, you're a busboy. So you still have to like, move out of the way for a customer. And they probably just be like, ugh. Like, and I just like, I can already recognize it. And I'm like, we need to get on top of this. Like, so you're not that
I
type of like
know.
teenager.
When they do feel like somebody asks them a question and they're just like in their
Yeah.
like dead in their
Yeah.
tracks. Like, and you're like,
Yeah.
sweet.
It's okay. Like, you can
Tell
talk.
me
Yeah.
what to drink.
We all do this. Like, it's okay. Like, it's normal. We don't do this online.
So
Like, no, we cannot order your drink online. You have to tell it to their face.
so annoying when they do
Yeah.
so, or they'll know what they
Yeah.
want. Like they're like, I want the grilled
Yeah.
cheese. And then the person comes and like, what would you like? And they're like,
Like,
and
we
they're looking at the menu
practiced
like,
this. Like, we
they
already
have
did
no
this. Like, look
idea.
at the menu. We did this. We worked for this. Like,
It's like they
yeah.
almost like just
Yeah.
panic. Like,
But I think our kids are still a little young too. So I think that's also a little bit to do with it. But I just want to be, because I see how now that I'm an adult, I see the other generations doing stuff and I'm like, ooh, okay, we're going to be on top of this. We got this.
I'm already prepping Ryan and I'm like, in 2 years we're applying to
Yeah.
Publix. Like, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, because it's good because Publix is really
Yeah.
good
They're a really good
about,
company.
so they'll hire you at
Yeah.
14 and they're really good about like only working you when you're
Yeah.
that young for like an hour and a half, 2
Yeah.
hours. So like, it's not like I'm over here like,
No.
like child
No.
labor, like where I'm like, my kid needs to go make
No, that's
money.
how it was at the
But
mall. I don't know if you had any friends
yeah,
back in the day who worked at the mall. They had to leave before like 8 p.m. or whatever like the curfew was for their age. So like
yeah,
anyone who was a closing manager had to have been over the age of like 15 or 16 because they weren't allowed to just be
yeah,
walking around, for safety
yeah,
and how many hours they were allowed to work. And I was like, they were so on top of that because our group of teenagers, like us, we were working at that age. Like we were walking around with our little paper where it's like, I'm 15. I can only work for 3 hours. But we were there. We were, what job is going to hire me?
yeah. I'm gonna
Yeah.
do it because they only do
Mhm.
weekends and for like an hour and a half, 2
That's
hours. I'm like, that's
amazing.
such good social
Yeah.
skills.
And he makes some
Like you better
money.
believe I'm gonna stick him out there on a
Yeah.
Saturday. Like,
Yeah.
no, yeah.
That'll be great.
So he in 2
Yeah.
years, he only has got
That's
2 years.
crazy.
So
It's crazy to think.
I
Like,
know.
yeah. These little babies growing
I'm
up.
gonna be like, you better represent me well.
Don't embarrass me.
You go in Publix, and be like, are you a good worker? Because I'm not gonna clean you.
Yeah.
That's my
I don't know that kid.
oh my God, that's my son.
Yeah.
Does he do okay? And they're like, he's literally the worst inside. He doesn't even talk to the
No,
constructor
I'm sure
stuff.
he'll be fine. Yeah. That's super cute though.
I know it's scary how close we're getting to like that driving age, and oh God, they're gonna be driving like
And it's crazy because I
rather than in
think
3
our
years.
kids, they show an interest in that, at least how they talk, where
Yes,
they're like,
mine for
I'd
sure
love to get a
has. Yeah,
driver's license. I'd love to get a car. I want to have a job. And I'm wondering, is it just going to switch off? Like when they're 15, are they all of a sudden just going to be like how teenagers are today, where they're like, nah, I'd rather just stay home. I don't need to go
no,
out. Does that just
I
turn
think we're
off?
doing better.
Or will
I
they
think
keep it?
we are doing better. I think we're doing better with recognizing the current things that are going on, and we're like, we need to change this. We cannot let our kid not be able to make a doctor's
Yeah,
appointment
yeah.
or or like not want to
Yeah.
drive or not want to work. I think we're recognizing that. And I hope there's going to be a
Yeah.
shift.
I mean, even just like the
I will.
example, I mean, we talked about it in a previous episode with the book, The Anxious Generation. And I think even
Mhm.
stuff like that, where, you know, a sociologist is recognizing that shift, other parents are then also recognizing that. So we're not the only ones. It's not wild or unorthodox for us to be thinking that, like, hey,
Yeah.
like, we're not liking the vibe of how the current generation, maybe like their lack of desire to go,
The
or like, yeah,
trajectory.
their
Yeah.
drive, like it's really low. So what can we do to make it a little bit easier for our kids?
And a lot of times I think not all, I think they're kind of were headed in that direction anyways, but a lot of them right now that are 19, 20, like my brother, their freshman year was COVID.
Yeah.
So it really like in their formative years of like
Hmm.
socialization and all that kind of stuff really took a
Yeah.
turn when they like were forced to only move from their
Yeah.
bed to
They
their
did
bed
school
and open their laptop.
online. They did socializing online.
They didn't have to get
Yeah.
dressed. They didn't have to, they could literally sit in their, they could wake up and just sit in the same
Yeah.
spot and open their computer and attend school. So I think the lack of drive came from
Oh,
that,
for
like,
sure. I'm sure that hit a lot of kids.
time frame
Yeah.
in life. So it's not fully, however, a kid grows up, right? Like, and who they end up being. Yes, you can change that as an adult when you become aware
Hmm.
of it, but a lot of times people don't realize they don't know any better. Like
Yeah.
they were raised
Yep.
like that. Like they were allowed to do that. Or anytime, Ryan says something about maybe somebody has class or something, I'm like, Ryan, you have to understand that these people are the product of their environment.
Yes.
Like this is not this kid's
Yeah, yeah.
fault.
And they don't know
Like
any different. Like Rylan could
this
even
is what
say
he's
that.
allowed at
Yeah, and then
home.
they'd have no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. Like one of his kids, he's like, yeah, he has a lot of stepdads. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's not the kid. So the kid doesn't
So like
even probably think anything of that. Like,
he doesn't know
yeah.
any better. And he's always been in that. That's what he's used to. That's what he's so I'm just like, I tell Ryan, you have to give people like that grace
Yes.
and know that like they are like that because of their
Yeah.
house.
No, and that's sad. Yeah. That's definitely more challenging for sure. And you're right that we can't pass the blame of why Gen Z is the way that they are today entirely. It's not them. Like, it's like a
No, his
whole, yeah, I
parents
was
gave
gonna
them
say
phones at
it's the,
9.
there's a lot of factors, right? We could break this down a lot.
Yeah.
COVID is huge because it totally
Yeah.
cramped all of that. Like, you know, working, socializing,
Socializing.
school, it really, any of the teenagers, the preteens, the teenagers, and then like that whole group, it just
Yeah.
messed it all up for them. And then also just technology itself too. It made life so much easier that they really didn't even need to go do anything. Like they could do research papers in their own house. They can socialize with
Yeah,
their
they grew up
friends.
in the Uber Eats
Yeah,
era.
Uber Eats, playing video games with each other all online. So just
Yeah.
everything just really kind of like set them up that they don't even realize that this is a problem. They think this is like,
Yeah.
great, it's convenient. Why would I need to put clothes on and go out when I can do all of that from the comfort of my own home? So it's like we really
Yeah.
just set them up for this type of lifestyle. And I think this current generation, we're seeing that because we didn't have it.
Sees that.
Yeah. And we're using that as like
And we're like,
information.
maybe you don't give a kid a phone at
Yeah,
9.
yeah. So instead of Uber Eats every day, we actually physically can go to a restaurant. Did you guys know that you can physically go? You have to
And then
put
we
clothes on.
go there and you have to order on a
Yeah.
screen. You're like,
Yeah.
"Hey," so when you go to a fast food place, do you choose to order on the screen or with a
I go
person?
wherever the line is the shortest, but I'm also not inconvenienced by going to talk to a person. Like I will talk to a person.
Oh, I will wait. If the line's a little bit longer for the person than the screen, I will wait in the
I
line
would
to
talk to
talk
the
to a
person. Yeah.
person.
I could say.
It just takes so much.
No,
It's like
that
you go
screen's
in and they're
awful.
like, "Do you
Yeah.
want this? Do you want like?" It's just like no, and it's like it 2 times the size of you, and you're like,
No, it is.
"Where's
Yeah.
the
And it
dumb
makes you click
burger?"
on everything compared to them just hitting their like one like Happy Meal button. So it is way more inconvenient for sure. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
like it. Like there was this we were at when we went to Orlando, we did the service
Yep.
plazas and we got off and we were waiting in Dunkin' Donuts and there's this long line to talk to somebody and then they also have this screen off to the side but like at the front of the
Yeah.
line and like no one except for one person
Yeah.
used it because everyone's like, nah,
Yeah. We all know.
I'm not ordering there.
Yeah.
Because it's always like, I hate when it asks that. I actually told this to Alva the other day. I was like, I feel like a kid still when I go to a coffee shop. I don't know what I'm
Yeah.
ordering. Like every time I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'll get the, whatever, blah, 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 latte. I'm like, does that have sugar? Is it
Yeah. Yeah.
sweet? Or
Yeah.
like, do I need to add a syrup in it? And they're like, well, it's kind of, and you're like, "Should I add a syrup or
Yes.
is it sweet?"
Yeah.
Like, what are we and then they're like, "It depends how sweet you like it." And you're like,
Yeah, and
"Oh,"
then they tell you like, "Oh, it's
like,
2
just
pumps of
answer.
this, and we actually do a spoonful of this." And then you're like, "I would
Yeah,
have
and I'm like,
never
"I
known
don't
that if I
know."
did the mobile or like the screen situation because it wouldn't tell you
No.
that."
Yeah, but how are people so well versed where they're like, "No, that has enough sugar, you don't need to get the
Oh,
pump,"
yeah.
or like, "No, you get a pump of this." I'm so clueless when I go to a coffee place. I'm like, sometimes I wing it and I'm like, "1 pump of
Yeah.
vanilla," and then I get it and I'm like, "Dang it, it already has sugar," and then there's other times I'm like, "Ah, it probably has sugar in it, I'm just not gonna get anything," and then I get it and there's like not 1 ounce of sugar in it, I'm like,
Yeah,
"Oh."
yeah, and now it's just sour coffee.
I I tell Alvaro, I was like, "I feel the same way," like, I never know what to
Yeah.
order, so I'm always like American coffee, 2 creams, 2
Yes.
sugars, like, that's what
Yeah.
he says. But I'm like, "No, I want something, like,
Like a
nicer, I can
treat.
make that
Yeah,
at
exactly. I
home."
do the
Yeah,
same
I
thing
can
where
make
I'm
that
like,
at
"What
home.
can I not do at my house?" And I want that at the cafe. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I still feel like a child. I'm like,
I think that's
"Is that
normal.
sweet? Does this have
Yeah, and
sugar?"
especially when you're not going to like a big box, like a Dunkin' or a Starbucks where you kind of can see what's going on there.
No, even
Oh,
those, I'm like a kid.
because I feel like the
I
app is really good
still
for that. So if you click on any of the drinks, it'll tell you exactly how much they put into it to make
I
like the
think
latte.
Starbucks does Dunkin' know? I found out I like the Dunkin'
Oh
latte,
yeah.
I think it's called the Dunkin'
Yeah.
Donuts, and when I first got it, I asked for a pump with
Yeah.
vanilla. I was like, "Whoa, this is sick."
Yeah.
It has sugar in it for sure. So then I ordered again and it was
Okay.
perfect, but then when you order online, it shows no
Oh,
sugar. So then I
interesting.
was
Okay,
like,
because I know
"Dang, do
they
I
have
put
like
sugar?"
a
I
an
was so
option to do
confused.
the because you can change because some people have like a dairy allergy or whatever where they want to
Yeah, yeah,
substitute something. So I know if you do it in the app, it'll let you do a drop down and then you can substitute. It'll say like full fat milk and then sub out soy or whatever the thing is. So that's what I'm trying to think like, would it show you the sugars and maybe all the other stuff
I
on,
didn't see
especially because
sugars.
that's already like one that they have on their menu. Like that's not you creating it.
Yeah,
It's already one that they have. So I wonder
yeah.
if that's why it doesn't show all this stuff. Yeah.
Still an
Yeah.
infant when it
Still
comes
an
to that.
infant.
You get there and you're like
Yeah.
looking at them like,
Yeah.
mm.
I'm like, is that good? Should I order that?
Because sometimes I might order. Now I found out, by the way, one time I ordered in the app at Starbucks and I realized that the coffee I get has 3 pumps of white chocolate mocha.
Ah,
And
okay.
so I'm like, okay, it's a little bit
Yeah.
sweet. So now I order it as 2 pumps
Okay. Yep.
only. But when I want to stray from that, I'm like,
Yeah, yeah. No, wait, I'm gonna mess
like,
it up. Like,
what am I getting? And then you sometimes you immediately see it and you're like, oh, there's not enough milk
yeah.
in there. It's gonna be like bitter.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah. No, it's I think a lot of people you see that all the time when there's like a social media video and someone's like as soon as you get that cup and it's like light brown, like more milky than it is brown and they're
yeah.
just like it's wrong. I already know it.
It's yeah. Or like it looks like there's no
Yeah.
coffee and you're like, ah, I
Yeah.
messed up.
It's not going to be good. This is iced milk with a splash of something coffee. Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
worst,
Yeah.
by the
Because
way.
then you paid for that.
When
Now
it's
it's like $7
and when it's
for
really
that.
and milky, but there's no
No,
coffee.
it's not good. No one likes that.
Which I'm stuck to my little like La Colombe has like the cans of
Okay.
coffee, which now I just order those online and that's like my
Oh,
afternoon
that's
coffee. They have mocha
perfect.
vanilla and like triple
Okay.
latte. They're both
Yeah.
good. They're all
Yeah.
good. And that's like my go-to now.
Nice.
It's cheaper and I just go so easy. So, but yeah, there's a lot of those, Starbucks orders every
Yep.
day, which costs a
Yep.
fortune. I just do it occasionally, so I'm not a pro yet.
No, I know what I want and I stick with it and I don't veer off too far from it. Only because I know it's also this is going to sound just silly of me, but they put so much crap in like these when you order something that's
Mhm.
too frou-frou, like too like when all of a sudden it's like
Yeah, yeah,
gingerbread, sprinkle sugar cookie, hazelnut, chocolate latte and I'm just like that's already 25 million ingredients that are not coffee. Like so how much coffee is
yeah.
truly is this even coffee anymore or is this just hot milk?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, okay, let me just like keep it like a little bit simpler, but like maybe just like a pumpkin spice latte where it's just that pump of syrup on top of a coffee and not all
Ooh,
the
pumpkin
other
spice latte.
crazy things that are going on.
Are you a basic bitch with the pumpkin
I
spice latte?
actually, that's
You like it?
probably my least favorite latte flavor, but the one thing that I do like is the pumpkin spice cold foam, like the sweet cream, whatever they put on the cold brew. That one is good
Yes,
because it's almost
that
subtle
one's
because
good.
then you get your cold brew coffee, but with a subtle treat on the top that kind of like melts into
Yes,
it.
the pumpkin. I prefer the pumpkin spice cold brew
Yeah.
too.
I don't know what it is, but the
The other
latte is
one's a
too
little
much.
too
Yes,
much.
it's too much. It's not my favorite already. Like I'm not a pumpkin
And then
spice
you get to the
person.
bottom and it's like that like
Yeah, it's just straight
syrup. You're
syrup
like,
and like the spice, and I'm just like, oh, that's not it. Like I can do all the other ones, like when they have like a hazelnut
I
latte
like
and
it.
stuff.
Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong. I think I would just need to do one less
I think
pump.
so too. Yeah, same. The cold brew
So
is
that's what we'll
chef's
do.
kiss though, because I can't make that myself. So that one, when it has that like pumpkin spice sweet cream on the top, I'm like, this is it. This is my
It's
fall
good.
beverage.
It's not
No,
super sweet
no.
either.
And you still get your coffee.
Catch us in
Yeah.
September with our
We
cold
got you,
grip.
Starbucks. Yeah.
Well, thanks for
It's always
chatting.
so fun
Seems
catching up
nice.
and chatting. But as
We
always,
got a little diverted.
yes, but that's okay.
We weren't planned for
Yeah.
today because we had a surprise
Yeah.
today, but a change of
But
plans.
that's okay.
So we'll have it next week.
Yes. But please go ahead and subscribe, share with your friends. Check us out on TikTok as well as Instagram and YouTube if you haven't already, so you don't miss out on all the fun because you can actually watch our episodes on YouTube and Spotify. So if you guys want to
Yeah.
see the chaos that happens on screen, you can go ahead and check it out.
See our
Yeah.
faces, our lovely faces. Well, we hope you guys have a great rest of the week.
Alrighty.
Bye.
Bye.